coverage they were playing?
Well, you said earlier.
I'm just asking. I'm not.
No. I want.
It's cover 4.
Yeah.
So what the safeties are doing, they're playing deep, and they're guarding number 2. Corners sink, and they trap 2. And so what they're doing is keeping everything in front. The linebackers are playing anything across. Kuechly is playing in the middle. He stops everything that crosses the middle. He jumps everything in that. And the safeties is charging on number 2. So if the safeties are playing low, then we can't take that. We have to hit double moves. Mm-hmm. We did the post because Reed stepped up on 2 with an out over the top. I didn't hit it. Same thing with Hop. In route, safety jumped up. He went vertical. I didn't hit it.
That's what Deshaun said. What does Swagoo say?
The reason why you don't play football is because you don't know what the hell you talking about. And I'm going to tell you what defenses are doing and why we throwing certain passes. So when we double move, dummy, for asking me that question, I got to go downfield because the linebackers are pushing up. Basically, don't ask me questions about football if you don't know what you're talking about with the insinuation that you do. Just ask the question like you don't know the answer.
I don't even agree with you, but I still like the way you said it, so I'm just going to leave it be. Let me get to the next Swagoo Says of the morning, and it involves the Vikings' Adam Thielen. 2 catches, 6 yards in a loss to the Bears, and after the game, Thielen voiced his frustration with the struggling Minnesota offense.
At some point, you're not going to be able to run the ball for 180 yards, even with the best running back in the NFL. And that's when you have to be able to throw the ball. You have to be able to make plays. You have to be able to, hit the ball, the deep balls. You have to do that because otherwise it's too easy for teams to just tee up and rush the quarterback. So we have to be able to run the ball and pass the ball. In this league, you cannot be one-dimensional. It's just too easy to defend.
All right, so that's what Adam Thielen said. What does Swagoo say?
Say, bruh, Kirk Cousins, we gave you $84 million. At some point, you got to be better than 0-6-1 against winning teams on the road. And at some point, Kirk Cousins, your QBR can't be the lowest because we're paying you $84 million, bro. And then the other thing is, when we play against the Bears, you have to have a pass longer than 5 yards, bro. Like, that's it. The passing game is your fault, Kirk Cousins. That's what Adam Thielen is saying, bro.
This time I agree with you, and that, keep a close eye on the situation in Minnesota.
$84 million.
That could get worse before
they
it gets
gave
better.
me that to throw 5-yard passes. I can do that right now. In this studio right now, I can throw 5-yard passes.
All right, let's talk about this guy. He's been throwing some passes. Minshew Magic alive and well on Sunday. The rookie quarterback rallying Jacksonville to a win. Here was Leonard Fournette on the growing legend of his new QB.
His name is the Jockstrap King. That's his name. He's playing his part. And he's tougher than what you think. You know, I don't know if the mustache give him power or whatever you got going on, but he's playing his part.
That's what Leonard Fournette said. What does Swagoo say?
Okay, first of all, let's take a break. Jockstrap King means he walks around the facility in a jockstrap. And then later Leonard said he's a tough guy. You know how tough you got to be to walk around in a jockstrap in an NFL facility? Are you kidding me? I think going to Minshew is going to be my spirit animal, G. I love this guy. I love everything about him. I loved him when he was at Washington State. Obviously, he had success with Leach because they're the same person. He is freaking Mike Leach, a younger version of Mike Leach. I'm here for Minshew Mania. Everybody grow a damn mustache.
Can I ask you one very quick question on that before I have to run to L? And that is he the quarterback now? If you're the coach of Jacksonville, is he your quarterback going forward? Is Nick Foles expendable?
Nick Foles is not expendable. I think you bring Nick Foles back. Nick Foles obviously won a Super Bowl. He's shown propensity to be great. Minshew Mania is on fire right now, but let's not get carried away. He could return. But all signs point to Gardner Minshew being a straight thug the rest of the season.
Okay, I like that. Every word of it.
Jockstrap King.
L, let's go over to you.
Yeah, while Gardner Minshew may be on fire, Clemson not so much. Yes, they extended their win streak to 20 straight games, but they eked out a 1-point win against North Carolina. Tigers become the first AP #1 team to win by a single point since Miami against Florida State in 2002. Let's check on the other top 5 CFB teams. How about Bama? Tua Tagovailoa led Alabama to a 59-31 win over Ole Miss. Tua set a school record with 6 passing touchdowns, and Smith's 5 receiving touchdowns tied the SEC single-game record. And Ohio State dismantled Nebraska to the tune of 48-7. Buckeyes have a point margin of plus 219 this season, which is their largest through 5 games in the AP poll era. So take a look at the latest AP top 5. While no team lost, there was a lot of shuffling in the top 5. Bama overtook Clemson for the #1 spot in the rankings, while Ohio State flip-flopped with LSU for the 4th spot. Paul Feinbaum is here, Dan Orlovsky as well. I mean, you might say at first glance, like, okay, but Clemson always gets scared at some point in the season. Are we panicking or making too much of barely winning against UNC?
No, I mean, they're not one of the top 4 teams in the country, Al, and I think for that poll to put them in there is ludicrous. This is not a lifetime achievement award. This is supposed to be based on what you're doing right now, and they beat North Carolina. North Carolina lost to App State the week before, and Wake Forest the week before that. Clemson's best win is over Texas A&M by 2 touchdowns at home. Texas A&M had to hold on to beat Arkansas, which is the worst team in the SEC.
It's an ugly win, but it was a win. They almost lost to Syracuse.
Yeah, well, to Paul's point, you know, the conversation as we get to the back end of the year is the best team versus the most deserving team when it comes to the college football playoff, right? They're not one of the 4 best teams in football, in college football right now. It probably because we've undervalued the losses from last year's team. And that's why it's not a lifetime achievement award. This was a team last year that had 4 defensive linemen that were absolute stars. They had Hunter Renfrow, that was a reliable player. And right now, they haven't been able to replace those pieces to be one of those 4 best teams. I would say maybe not even a 5th best team. 4 defensive linemen gone and Hunter Renfrow. Those guys were impactful players, huge players for that football team. And we're starting to see, or at least we've seen in the first month, that Clemson is still finding their way with how to replace those guys.
And Trevor Lawrence has grown a lot of nice hair in the offseason, but he hasn't grown as a quarterback. I mean, I thought he was one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen and could potentially be the best. But Al, I mean, there are quarterbacks all across the board right now who are playing better than him. Maybe the pressure is too much.
So maybe a bit of a regression there for Trevor Lawrence. You mentioned you don't think Clemson's in your top 4. Well, then give me your top 4. Who are your top 4 teams, Paul?
Well, I like Ohio State. I think behind Justin Fields, they have just been spectacular so far. And after that, yeah, Bama is in there. Bama's defense is a concern, though. It will not carry them through the rest of the season. Georgia has been very good based on the win over Notre Dame at home, I will say. And LSU, you could argue LSU has played better than anyone. They have the 2 most impressive wins, other than Auburn is also very good. But there's just not a lot of room at the end right now.
But this is such a great thing for college football because everybody went into the season thinking it was a 2-team race, right?
Run away with
and
it.
we saw Paul's 4, and you could listen. Ohio State's great. Georgia's good. Oklahoma's up there. Auburn's up there. LSU's up there. Wisconsin's up there. I just had them this weekend. They're a really good football team. So like, there are 10 teams right now that we go, they might be